Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into some AI today. We've got four pretty big developments to unpack, all with some big implications for the future.
Yeah, it's true. Things are moving fast. It's not just the tech itself, though, right? It's who's calling the shots and what their priorities are, which is something we're going to get into.
Okay, so let's get right to it. Our first stop is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT.
Right, ChatGPT. They've been making headlines with some pretty significant moves lately.
Yeah, I mean, they started as this idealistic nonprofit, right?
hmm
Wanting to make AI that benefits everyone.
Exactly. But then, needing more funding as they grew, they transitioned to a for-profit model. And I mean, they just raked in a massive funding round.
Yeah, $150 billion valuation, that's wild. But that kind of money, it makes you wonder, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that level of investment definitely suggests that AI development might end up being concentrated in the hands of just a few powerful companies, which, well, that raises some questions.
For sure, like what about accessibility,
You,
competition? And even more importantly, how can we ensure that this push for ethical AI development is everyone's priority, not just a select few?
it's a critical point. And to make things even more interesting, OpenAI has seen the departure of some major figures recently.
Yeah, like Mira Murati, their CTO, the brains behind ChatGPT. Any insight on what happened there?
Well, the details are still a bit murky. There's speculation, right, that there were some internal disagreements, maybe about how quickly OpenAI is commercializing its technology. It's a tough balance.
Totally. It's like when your favorite indie band hits the big time. Suddenly it's stadium tours and sponsorships, and some fans feel like they've sold out. But, on the other hand, they are reaching a much bigger audience.
That's a great analogy. And it really gets at the heart of the challenge OpenAI is facing,
Yeah.
how to balance this potential for massive impact with, well, staying true to those initial ideals.
For sure. Speaking of balancing profit and progress, let's talk about Meta, specifically their Connect conference. They're all in on the metaverse, and AI is a big part of that.
Oh, yeah, they made some pretty big announcements, especially about making the metaverse more accessible, which is interesting.
Right, like that new MetaQuest 3S, a much more affordable VR and AR headset.
Definitely a big step. It's not just the hardware either, though. Their AI assistant is getting a serious upgrade, too. More natural interactions, even celebrity voices.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But seriously, AI that can mimic voices that realistically, it makes you think, where do we draw the line between artificial and authentic?
It's a question we're going to have to grapple with more and more as AI keeps evolving. But before we go down that rabbit hole, Meta also teased something else pretty wild. Hyperscape. Imagine stepping into a photorealistic virtual world, like a perfect replica of your favorite cafe.
Wow. Okay, how close are we to that actually being a reality?
Closer than you might think. Meta is already demoing this technology with their prototype Orion glasses. And that's not even touching on their new AI model, Llama 3.2.
Wait, Llama 3.2, what's that all about?
It's their open source AI model. Basically, they're making it available to developers, researchers, pretty much anyone who wants to use it.
Hold on, open source AI. What does that even mean for people like me?
Well, think of it like this. It's like sharing the recipe, right? So instead of just a handful of companies controlling this technology, we might see an explosion of creativity and innovation from all over the world.
Okay, that's kind of mind-blowing. But like anything powerful, I'm guessing there are some risks involved too, right?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely some big questions that come along with that kind of open access. And we need to be having those conversations. It's a whole new world of possibilities and challenges. But let's shift gears for a sec and talk about the hardware that makes all this AI magic happen. Nvidia's new Blackwell GPUs.
Yeah. You can't have all these amazing AI applications without the computing power to back it up, right?
Ah.
And I've been hearing a lot of buzz about these new GPUs.
For good reason. Nvidia is already a big name in AI hardware, but these Blackwell GPUs, they're designed specifically for AI. We're talking about a whole new level of performance here.
And the demand is through the roof, right? One article I read said that Morgan Stanley is predicting NVIDIA could ship like 450,000 of these GPUs in just the fourth quarter of this year, potentially bringing in over $10 billion in revenue.
Yeah, it's huge. It really shows you how fast AI is growing across the board. I mean, everyone wants a piece of this.
What I found interesting is that NVIDIA actually priced these GPUs lower than some people were expecting, especially with this much demand. Any thoughts on why they do that?
My guess is it's strategic. By offering a competitive price, they're making it harder for other companies to compete. It's like they're saying, we're already ahead, good luck catching up.
So it's a smart business move as much as it is about the tech itself.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But even with all the demand, they're running into some production challenges, right? Something to do with relying on TSMC.
Right. So TSMC is the world's largest semiconductor foundry, and Nvidia depends on them for this really advanced packaging technology. But there have been some hiccups.
When you say packaging technology, what does that actually mean?
It's complicated. Basically, imagine building a high-performance jigsaw puzzle, but on a microscopic scale. That's kind of what TSMC does with this technology they call co-OSL. They're connecting these tiny processors together to create these crazy powerful GPUs. It's incredibly intricate, so any little delay can really throw things off.
So it's a good reminder that AI isn't just about algorithms and code. There's a whole physical manufacturing process that has to happen too. Okay, well, hopefully they can work out those kinks, but it sounds like these new GPUs have the potential to be a pretty big deal, especially for things like scientific research, right?
Absolutely. Speaking of which, one of the articles we have this week dives into how AI is being used to potentially treat rare diseases, which is an area that I think deserves a lot more attention.
It's true, rare diseases often get overlooked, which is heartbreaking when you think about the people who are directly affected.
Exactly, and they often struggle to get funding for research and treatment.
Yeah, one article mentioned that only a tiny fraction of rare diseases actually have FDA-approved treatments. It's pretty grim.
Yeah, it is, but that's where AI could really make a difference. Researchers have developed this new AI model called TxGNN, which is designed to find existing drugs that could potentially treat rare diseases.
So instead of starting from scratch, which takes years and tons of money, they're using AI to see if drugs that are already out there could be effective for something else.
Exactly. Drug repurposing is what it's called, and it's a much faster and more cost-effective approach. What's really cool about TxGNN is that it can identify these shared features across different diseases, even if they seem totally unrelated at first glance.
So TxGNN is like, hey, this drug you're using for high blood pressure, I think it could also be effective for treating this rare genetic disorder, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's about finding those hidden connections and patterns in huge data sets, which is something AI is really good at.
That's amazing. But I have to ask, how reliable is something like that? I mean, can AI really be trusted to understand the complexities of human diseases? It's a really fascinating concept. But yeah, the reliability thing, that's a big one. I mean, how do we know it's not just, finding random connections?
It's a great question, and it gets to the heart of how we think about AI in healthcare. Just because an AI suggests something, it doesn't mean we take it as gospel, right? We still need the rigorous testing, the clinical trials to really know if it holds up.
So it's not like AI is going to replace doctors anytime soon.
No, not at all. Think of it more like a really powerful tool. AI can analyze those huge data sets. It can point researchers in new directions, maybe help design clinical trials more effectively, but ultimately it's still up to human experts to interpret the results, make the calls about patient care.
Okay, that makes me feel better. Because as excited as I am about the potential here, I do believe in that human element of medicine, the empathy, the experience. You can't just program that into an algorithm.
100%. And honestly, I think that human element, that's only going to become more important as AI plays a larger role in healthcare. We're going to need doctors, researchers who not only get the tech, but can really advocate for their patients, navigate all the ethical complexities, make sure AI is being used responsibly.
You've brought up so many important points, and I think it really highlights something crucial. As we dive deeper into this world of AI, it can't just be about the tech itself, right? We have to talk about the human impact, the ethical side, what kind of future we're actually building here.
Couldn't agree more, and that's why I love these deep dives, because by really digging into these topics, looking at the potential benefits and the risks, we can start making more informed decisions about how we want to integrate AI into our world.
Well said. So, to kind of bring it all back, we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about OpenAI and their shift to a for-profit model, the ethical questions that raises. Then there's Meta and their big metaverse plans that push for open source AI, not to mention Nvidia dominating the AI hardware scene. And then, of course, the incredible potential for AI to revolutionize healthcare, especially for rare diseases. It's a lot to process.
It really is, and I think the key takeaway is, while it's easy to get caught up in how fast things are moving, we can't lose sight of the human side of it all. We have to make sure these advancements ultimately benefit everyone.
Absolutely. Well said. So to our listeners, thanks for joining us on another deep dive. We hope this has sparked some curiosity, maybe even a little bit of healthy skepticism. It's an exciting time for AI, but it's up to all of us to stay informed, ask tough questions, have those conversations about the kind of future we want to see.
I couldn't agree more. It's a future we're all creating together.
And on that note, That's a wrap on today's episode. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep asking those big questions.